Boxing legend Mike Tyson said something the other day on a podcast interview that really hit home for what I believe as a husband, father, entrepreneur. Tyson made the comment that when God favors you, when the universe favors you, the devil will also favor you. The bad wolf, if you will favor you. There's no way around it. Michael McLean, brassballsvideos.com. I'm an ex-professional hockey coach turned 8-figure entrepreneur. I shoot these ugly, broken iPhone videos every day on my morning walk. I'll take you on a mini adventure and tell you the cold, hard truth about wealth, health, and what it really takes to win in 2024. You can subscribe for free at brassballsvideos.com. So I have compassion and empathy for the great Mike Tyson. If anybody wants to talk about evil or parasites or time or energy or money vampires, if anybody wants to talk about financial loss, I don't think there's anybody that's more qualified than Iron Mike. When you think about his career, he was well on his way to becoming the youngest, the greatest heavyweight boxing champion in history. And he was, of course, discovered by the great Cus D'Amato. He was brought back from the depths of a juvenile detention center, and under Cus D'Amato's care, this young man was able to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Everything started to unfold, a lot of people don't know this, after the death of Cus. As soon as Tyson lost his mentor, lost his leader, lost his father figure, it wasn't long until the vultures, the sharks like Don King, entered Tyson's life. And it didn't take long for his entire career in and outside the ring to spiral out of control. The last time I read about Mike Tyson a few years ago, he had lost over $300 million. He lived an absolutely ridiculous lifestyle. And then his skills, way before they should have, started to erode because he didn't have the training anymore that Cus provided. In fact, he ended up firing people that were working with him and Cus at the time, and it wasn't long until he was imprisoned and married and divorced and all the rest of it. But this is a guy that can talk about the dangers of massive wealth, of overnight success, of fame, of fortune, of celebrity, like literally launched into it, and then having evil and corrupt to the core people enter your life. And he called it the devil. And if you're not a religious or spiritual person, you can call it the bad wolf, you can call it whatever the hell you want. But I agree 200% with Tyson on this. And he was talking to a young fighter in this podcast who is winning, making millions of dollars, becoming a celebrity on social media. People are entering this young fighter's life. He's got fame, he's got fortune, and of course he came from absolutely nothing. So he's been thrust into the spotlight, and Tyson said to him, he said, you know, Everything is working for you right now because you've been working. You've been working for years to become one of the top fighters in the world, and it appears everything is going your way. Everything is coming together because of all your dedicated consistency and compounding. The 2 C's, consistency and compounding. And this young fighter agreed and smiled and, yes, things are going my way. He says, you know why all of these blessings, all of this abundance and all of this opportunity is happening in your world right now? And the young fighter, of course, is like, well, I've been putting in the time, I've been consistent, all this stuff, which is very true. And Tyson said, it's because God is favoring you now. The reason he's favoring you is not because of the color of your skin or where you were born or your specific religion or any of that. It's because you've literally put in the work. You've honored him by taking whatever skills you've been given, a handful of skills, whatever opportunities he's given you, and you've actually done what most people don't do, and you've acted on them. You've developed them. You've put in the 10,000 hours. Everybody has 1 or 2 gifts, I believe, skills that nobody else have, but most people just leave these skills dormant, right? Everybody has a passion or an obsession for something, but they're also really good at it. There's a couple of things that come naturally to you, things that are almost seamless, things that would make me tired or me fatigued that come easy to you. I only have a handful of gifts, and I work my hardest to maximize them because the rest of the stuff I do is difficult and hard. I find marketing simple. I find shooting videos simple. I find, writing now after 20 years, it's become simple. So it was hard in the beginning. I wasn't any good in the beginning, but I was certainly willing to look bad in these 3 areas, whatever you want to call videos, writing, any of that stuff. And I was willing to be bad for a long time to be eventually good. So you can do the same thing. I believe everybody has some special gift, but most people don't develop the gift or the skill. So Tyson said to this young man, the good Lord is favoring you now because you have chosen to develop the gift that he has given you. And again, this young guy was just like nodding his head, right? And he said, I'm going to tell you something else. And this comes from one of the greatest fighters of all time who lost absolutely everything. And he said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, the Lord favoring you means that the devil now favors you as well. You weren't on his radar screen because he didn't have to give you any attention. He didn't have to give you any attention. But now that the good Lord is favoring you, guess who else has now made you a priority? And I found this thinking so powerful. Whether you're a religious person, whether you're a spiritual person, whether you don't believe in any of that stuff or you believe in the universe, I just believe that there's 2 wolves inside of us. I believe there's a good wolf and I believe there's a bad wolf. I also believe in God, and I believe that there's a form of the devil. I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person, but I believe that there's 2 voices in our world. Andy Frisella, the great Andy Frisella, calls them, he calls that the little bitch voice. The voice that tells you to skip the gym, the voice that tells you to sleep in, the voice that tells you to hit the snooze button, the voice that tells you to have a second drink, the voice that tells you, you can relax and take it easy. So whatever you want to call it, the devil, the bad wolf, the universe, the little bitch voice, whatever you want to call it. In Tyson's case, he says, you are now a priority. And it literally, him saying that, it gave me goosebumps, almost chills. More chills than goosebumps. Because it was just a massive reminder that it's always at work. It's the bad wolf is always at work. The devil is always at work. The universe is always pulling you down. There's always crabs in the bucket. The crabs in the bucket, society, negative people, toxic forces, it's just going to be a constant gravitational pull in your life as a high performance person, a person who wants to improve every day. You have to understand that this is normal. Because you're not normal, because you're not ordinary, because you're not mediocre, you have to understand that every day of your life, you're gonna have to battle the crabs in the bucket. What are the crabs in the bucket? The crabs in the bucket, if you go down to the dock, you'll see a bucket of crabs, and you'll see, the crab, one or two of the crabs is right up to the top of the bucket, about to gain his freedom, just about to escape the bucket. And the old story, the tale is that the guy walked up and said, you're about to lose some of these crabs. And the fisherman laughed. He said, you're not from around here. He said, that crab that's trying to escape, that's at the very top, has no chance, because the other crabs are just about to pull him back in. And sure enough, this visitor looked, the crab's just about to escape the bucket. He's this far from his freedom, and they pull him back in. They pull him back in. That's society. I call that the gravitational pull of ordinary. The world doesn't want you to be extraordinary. The government doesn't want you to be spectacular. The curators of anti-social media, big pharma, those are crabs in the bucket. They want you down. They want you alone. They want you mentally ill. They want you depressed. They want you anxious. They want your children scared. That's the crabs in the bucket. But when you understand this and you take accountability for everything in your life, 100%, you understand, like Tyson, that you have now been made a priority. And for me, it goes far beyond the bad wolf or the devil or whatever. If you've earned abundance, if you've earned good fortune, if you've earned opportunity, and you've put in the time by being massively consistent, and you're starting to finally see some gains, you've been working for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and all of a sudden you're starting to win in areas of your life you never won before. You're a high performance person who's starting to, see the fruits of your consistent labor. All those days of stacking the wins, stacking the wins, stacking the wins, after years of compounding every day, consistency and compounding, you're starting to be luckier, more abundance, more opportunity, more wealth, more health, whatever it is. What comes with that is now you are also a priority. You are being favored, not just by the universe, not just by your creator, not just by your God, not just by whatever you want to talk about, call it. You're also being favored by the bad wolf, being favored by the devil, being favored by the little bitch, if you want to look at it that way. And I think being mentally present and understanding that this is just part of the real life process, it makes it easier to listen to something like a Mike Tyson and just say, you got to make sure that you build an environment that you're constantly rejecting and ejecting toxic people, toxic things, toxic habits out of your life. I don't think the swift sword is ever put away. I don't think you ever get done cutting the rope. I don't think you ever stop curating people, places, and things out of your life. I don't think there's any finish line for cutting the boat anchors out of your world. You're just growing as a man, and when you're growing as a man and as a human being and a husband and father, you're going to outgrow people, you're going to outgrow things, you're going to outgrow activities, you're going to outgrow old thinking, and you're just going to be constantly having to say to yourself, does this any longer fit inside my world? And you got to put systems in place in your world, environments for champions, willpowers for chumps. See, Mike Tyson didn't have any environment to succeed. He was at the whims of evil people like Don King, vampires, parasites, the evil. He didn't have a chance. They didn't give a shit about Mike Tyson any more than any other fighter, and they literally bled him dry. And I've really, really enjoyed seeing the resurgence of Mike Tyson on social media, talking about how to serve young people. He's serving people. He's trying to be a better man, sobriety, better father. He's trying to be a better example, and it's working. And I love listening to him. And unique fellow. But this was the quote that literally gave me pause over the last 24 hours. When you're favored by the good Lord above, you now become favored by the devil or the bad wolf. And that's the only wake-up call we need as husbands and fathers and business operators, is the challenges are going to come. Okay? You're going to want to hit that snooze button. You're going to want to have that drink. You're going to want to, drink the Diet Cola. You're going to want to, there's the bad wolf is relentless. The devil is relentless. And it's like Napoleon Hill wrote in that book, Outwitting the Devil, one of his least famous books. Most people don't know about it. But what did Napoleon Hill talk about in that book, Outwitting the Devil? He said the devil's job is one thing, to instill the habit of drifting in your life. If the devil or the bad wolf can instill the habit of drifting in your life, he's got you right by the balls. He's got you where he needs you as a husband, a father, a grandfather, an entrepreneur. The opposite of drifting, as Napoleon Hill writes, is driven. If you want to show gratitude to your creator, your God, the universe, then you take the opportunities that we're blessed with every single day. And we are awash in wealth, opportunity, and abundance like never before. Are you kidding me? This is the greatest time in history to be alive. But when we choose to drift, we essentially are just throwing these opportunities, this abundance, our skills back into the face of our creator or the universe. We're like saying it's ultimate scarcity. I don't need that stuff. I'm gonna scroll social media. I'm gonna get my highs from alcohol. I'm gonna get my highs from fake dopamine, that kind of stuff. And it's amazing when we show gratitude towards our creator or the universe, we do it by becoming driven. I love that quote in that book. You either become driven or drifting, but the devil and the bad wolf, they have one job: to instill the habit of drifting, laziness, entitlement, selfishness. And now visualize what's happening in our world in 2024. Our young people, even our adults. Just think about what you see around you. When we struggle, what's the habit that has been instilled? The habit of drifting in our children, in our teenagers, in our adult children, and in ourselves. I see more 50 and 60 and 70-year-old people behaving like tomato cans. I just can't believe that I see somebody at that age who's drifting, who's lost their way as cell phone junkies, scrolling their lives away at the age of 60 and 70. The loss of manners and etiquette at the dinner table, it's stunning. But that's the work of the bad wolf. That's the work of the devil. That's the work of big tech. That's the work of big pharma. That's the work of big government. That's the work of big media. That's their job, to instill the habit of drifting. You want to do the exact opposite for yourself, for your queen, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your employees. You want to do the opposite of what the bad wolf wants, the opposite of what the devil wants, and you want to instill the habit of being driven. And that is what Mike Tyson was telling that young fighter. And it looked like the young fighter finally got it. The light bulb went off. It was kind of a wake-up call where you have no idea what's coming. You've got people in your life that don't wish you well. You have people that don't believe. You have people that want to see you fail. This guy has been thrown into the spotlight, fame and fortune. He's drinking the wine right now. But if he doesn't get these parasites and vultures out of his life, it won't be long until he's picking the grapes again. So fascinating to see, fascinating to hear from a guy like Mike Tyson. If you're favored, if you've earned favor, not given, nothing given, but earned favor, and things are starting to really, really work for you, just remember, stay vigilant, and be, most importantly, be vigilant that you are now favored by a second force. And that's the devil or the little bitch or whatever, or the bad wolf, whatever you want to call it. Stay vigilant. Keep that swift sword ready. Keep that curation mentality. Keep that cut the rope mentality. And anybody who no longer serves you, any substance, any food, any habit that no longer belongs in your world, get out the hatchet and get rid of that person, that habit, that place, that thing today. And keep that hatchet, that swift sword handy, because you're going to need it every day. Remember that that's part of the process of winning, is that crabs in the bucket, they want to pull you back. It's a gravitational force. It's normal. You're trying to do something exceptional. You're trying to do something outstanding. You're trying to do something 1% of people do. Do you think that that's going to be simple or easy? It's going to be damn hard. Getting up and working out is hard. Getting up and drinking 2 glasses of water every day is hard. Breaking up with alcohol is hard. Reading real books for half an hour a day is hard. Putting your cell phone and locking it away for the first hour of the day is hard. Getting rid of family and friends and high school buddies that no longer share your goals or dreams is hard. Learning how to write for money, copywriting is hard. Time management is hard. It's all difficult and it's all supposed to be, but it's the crabs in the bucket that you need to be aware of. It's the bad wolf you need to be vigilant. It's the work of the devil favoring you, especially with success. I'll never forget the great Fred Shiro, 2-time Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies head coach. Freddie the Fog Shiro, one of my all-time favorite NHL coaches, 2-time Stanley Cup champion. And Freddie had these incredible quotes. He was a different cat from a different planet. And he would always write these each day on the chalkboard back in the 70s. And his Broad Street Bullies would come in, and every day it'd be a Freddieism, a Shiroism on the board. And one of my favorite Shiroisms written on the chalkboard, I got a photo of it, is Fame and success is like cologne. It's great to smell. It's great to be around. Just don't swallow it. That's it for today. If you want to work with me privately, there's a list of things below. You start by reading my book, How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked in Business and Life. The link for the book is below, nobullbook.com. If you want to work with me in one of my masterminds, the link is below. And if you'd like me to write your emails for you this year, one per week, the email millions.coach link is below. That's 3 ways that you and I can work together in this year and make sure that you continue to be driven and that you fight the crabs in the bucket, the devil, the bad wolf, the little bitch voice. You need support. I'm your guy to provide that. 2 words that change my life, 2 words that'll change yours. Be relentless.